All right, we're doing this again. We're doing PB and Jack's in a studio. It feels kind of weird. The backdrop's a little different. I've moved locations. I'm now at the link. We've been doing so many of these episodes on site at these businesses in Jacksonville and really amplifying the voices of the people that have built great things that I haven't done these virtually very often. With that said, there's certain people when they say like, I want to jump on, you figure it out. And so I'm here with Lonnie Marts, good friend of mine. We've been chopping up for a long time, and I know we've been waiting to do this. And I'm just so glad we were finally able to sync up and put this on the calendar. And just want to let you know I'm grateful that you're here, man. Welcome to the show.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for putting the city of Jacksonville on like this. Like, I love Duval so much. I try to go back as often as I can. I'm out here in Los Angeles right now, and while it is nice to be out here with the all the flashy celebrities and whatnot, I always miss going home to be at the warm beaches with warm water and a Waffle House nearby. So this is great, and thank you so much for having me on, dude.
This was a no brainer for me because when you said that you always want to put Jacksonville on, every time I've seen you, talked to you, met with you, you're just always talking about how you want to see this place thrive in ways it just never has before. And so for you to take the time to come out here and showcase to people that you can build your own brand right here in Northeast Florida and then go on to do bigger and better things and then bring the love right back home, having this conversation made all the sense in the world.
Dude, and even with that being said too, there's a lot of times when I'm like, and we'll get into it a little bit, but there's a lot of times when I'm like, bigger and better things that can look really different in today's world, even like different than it did 5 years ago before the pandemic. Like that bigger and better doesn't always require you to up and leave and go pay way more expensive rent somewhere else.
That's
That
right.
bigger and better can be right at your fingertips. And sometimes being in a spot like Jacksonville can let you stretch it way further than you would like if you were out here living in paying 6 grand for rent in a studio apartment.
Or a cardboard
So
box.
just, for a cardboard box. Listen, bigger and better can look different for a lot of people.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to get into everything. I know that most people who are going to watch this, who know you as a content creator or know you as a host on E News. And I
Yeah.
certainly want to talk about that stuff, but origin stories are my jam. I love to know how people kind of came up and came into the fold. And
Yeah.
you were raised by a football player. Not too many people can say that. Walk me
Yeah.
through early days, Jacksonville, Florida, man. What was it like to be Lonnie Marts in Duval County?
Yeah, so my dad was Lonnie Marts Jr. I'm Lonnie Marts the third, hence my name, LonnieIIV, which it translates roughly, if you know Roman numerals, so Lonnie Marts or Lonnie the third. But growing up under Lonnie Jr., I had a lot of time in the spotlight, and I got blessed to have a lot of time learning how to navigate the public eye, I guess you could say. There's pictures of me and like my older sister doing like photo shoots with my dad shortly after he was like drafted, and like NFL player profiles and stuff like that. I remember getting like towed around to the games and stuff like that, and sitting in the Jaguar Stadium daycare center for like all the players' kids and stuff like that. So growing up, I always had eyes on me. So whenever it came to like getting into social media and content creation and growing this audience as like a host and a personality of like 3 million followers, it just kind of feels like it's a bit of a fishbowl, but I've always kind of felt like a fish in the first place, I guess. So it's nothing really new. But the thing that I would say really inspired me to even start on the track of social media is just my hatred for people telling me what to do, probably. For being completely honest and transparent. My mom was always like, dude, you just need to like think before you speak. You need to like stop and just like listen to people, like listen to what people are saying for more than 2 seconds. And I guess at some point I realized I could just like weaponize and monetize that ADHD, if you would call it that. But I worked this corporate job in college as an HR person, and my coworkers were so, so nice, which broke my heart so much whenever I told them all the time, like, I just want to jump out of a window every day I'm here. It's not because of you guys. It's just because I have to sit at a desk listening, like working on like a manual every single day. They're like, "Oh, you're so nice. You're one of the best workers we had." I'm like, I know. That's why I got to go do something for myself. So I started like pecking away at just like short form social media. This was like back in like 2017, 2018. I tried posting stuff on Facebook. I tried posting stuff on YouTube, and I never quite understood the formula because for a lot of these things, there is like a form or a formula. And I was watching people. I don't know if you remember Vine, but
Oh,
there's a
six
social media
seconds.
app called the Vine. Yeah. And I grew up, or like I was in high school watching them like do stuff. And the thing that caught my attention about all these social media platforms is the fact that like these people were able to build communities. You know, my mom and dad were big on family and community. I have four other siblings. Both my parents were all living in the same house for the longest time till I moved out to LA, really. And community was always so big. So I was always like on these social media apps and channels trying to figure out how do I like bring my community and like integrate with a larger global community through like these channels and things like that. And that's always been my driver. Like that's why I host in personality. I'm like I get to facilitate these communities and these conversations. Um, and whenever it came to like me being in college and still trying to figure out how do I make social media work? How do I make this happen? I discovered this app called TikTok in like 2019, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is the next iteration of how I can like find my community and find a way to like basically put my family on the internet, probably just make some money off them, but also find other people who valued that community in the way that we lived and interacted with each other, right? And one of my first videos on TikTok was me and my little sister doing this skit, got like 50 views, and I'm like, I'm printing views here. This is amazing. All my stuff to that point was getting like 12 views or 6 views, and it was like my mom and then like her friends and stuff like that. So to get a video with 50 views, I'm like, this is insane. And it was like September 2019. And I just kept on posting stuff and kept on posting stuff. And then eventually I stumbled across like this one idea where it was like God and his angels making all the things we see around them, all around us all the time and stuff like that. I got the idea from some Twitter posts, posted those, nobody really cared. And then I switched up God's voice to sound like a like Dollar Tree Morgan Freeman, and people loved it. It went incredibly viral. The pandemic happened like a month later, and so I have this series where I'm making God, making stuff. People are now locked in their homes. TikTok is now booming for the first time. I was one of the first comedy creators on there making content. People discovered it. It brought this whole wave of new followers. And then Instagram was like, oh, well, we can do short form too. And I just said, I'm going to repost all my TikToks over on Instagram Shorts, you know? Then Snapchat did the same thing, then YouTube. So that's how I've gotten to this spot of like being able to do this full time. But it's always been in pursuit of like community and like connection and like shared like experience through laughter and like humor of everything, you know? So sorry for the long story, but that's kind of like where I guess a brief little origin story of how I got, what I cared about, how I got started, and how I am where I am now.
If you don't mind, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but for anybody that hasn't watched any of your short form content, can you give us the dollar store Morgan Freeman voice, just one sentence?
Yeah, yes, of course I can. Usually, let me see if I got him. Usually, my character is wearing like a beanie and some glasses that like is the God character. I don't have the beanie, but the glasses usually wears the glasses, and he does like, Gabriel, I want you to put water everywhere, you know, or whatever like that. And that's the one there, like the comment section, the kids are like, oh my God, you sound like Mortal Freeman. And they don't know how to spell Morgan Freeman on TikTok. So it's just all the weird comparisons. But, you know, like I said, a janky dollar store Morgan Freeman. And that made all the difference between like just me doing some basic skits and then, you know, having a viral series that has over like 50 million, I think well over 50. I don't know how many millions of like of views and stuff like that. But it's brought me to where I am now, you know? So it's been a fun journey.
What does it say to somebody, and maybe you can expand on this a little bit, that, you know, you were doing something that was a passion of yours, and even though it was low view, low like count, you just kept going, and then sometimes timing's perfect, right? Just you get lucky. And the pandemic
Yeah.
happened, and obviously we got some more eyeballs on TikTok at the time, but, you know, what does it say for you that you just kept doing something that you had a little bit of passion or a little bit of feel good about, and you were persistent about it?
I think persistence is one of my strong suits. If I want something, I'm annoying about it. I'm very persistent. That doesn't always mean I'm consistent. I'm working on that part still. Like, oh, be consistent, just do it at the same time every day. That's not never really been my strong suit, but I'm working on that. But like the persistence of something that you care about and you love is what I recommend everybody like uncover. You know,
Yeah.
I've always been passionate about voice acting. I don't know how much of a voice acting career I want to have because I learned how much voice actors actually make after I started doing it. I'm like, oh, wow, that's that. And I love and appreciate the teachers I know and work with so much. I'm like, that is a teacher salary. That is the Lord's work you are doing there. You know, that's not exactly going to like help you. That's not going to help you afford rent in California necessarily, you know? So I still keep voice acting like a passion close to my chest, but like whenever people get on social media, it's weird because it's kind of a blank canvas and people are like, what should I do? What should I do? And I'm like, what do you like? Like part of the reason I did start doing the voices on social media was because like I just kind of also wanted to practice. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't really a skilled writer. I didn't know I like a lot of things, but I'm like, okay, let me just work on my voice acting skills. And that's why I started doing the weird voices with all the characters, just to practice my voice acting skills, because I knew I wanted to be on social media. I knew I wanted to have an audience, but I didn't necessarily know how to get there. So I like reached for my passions and said, what tool can I use to kind of row the boat in this direction? And at the time it was like voice acting, giving all these characters dumb voices. And it turns out that my passion mixed with like a format that somebody else came up with per se made this magical formula that people hadn't experienced before. And I think that, like you also said, the timing is another thing. My
Mhm.
brain was also kind of wired and like attuned to like the world works in waves. Like there's always a wave of something coming. And if you missed one wave, just make sure, like if you I have some friends who are like, yo, man, Lonnie, I wish I would have jumped on TikTok when you told me to back in like 2019. Or like, I wish I would have done the dancing in front of the camera videos like those kids were doing, and I wouldn't have to be sitting at my 9 to 5 right now. And I'm like, I hear you, I get you. And honestly, true. I'm glad I did it in the way I did it and just showed up and did something, even though I didn't know what really it was going to look like. I would say my thought process was always like, if you miss the wave, say you're a surfer, if you miss the wave or you know the wave is happening and it's like, oh, it's already cresting and breaking in front of you, like social media, TikTok, the start of it is over there, it's cresting, it's broken. Don't try to chase that one or you'll get crushed by the next one. Just put
Yeah.
yourself in a good position to catch the next one that's going to come, because you're in the ocean, you're surfing, there's going to be more waves. Keep yourself attuned to like the pull and the motion of things. Talk to people, read articles. Can you sense what could be coming next? And it might not be as big as a previous one, but there is going to be another wave that comes. And if you can ride that one, maybe you'll be good enough to ride the next one and the one after that and the one after that. But if you just keep on chasing a wave that's already passed, you're kind of not setting yourself up for success. I don't know if that made sense. Weird analogy, but that's kind of how I think of things. And like, even AI is a wave that is currently like happening right now, and people are trying to figure out, how do I get on it? How do I interact with it? I don't know the answer to that, but you have a specific set of skills that you can use and leverage to at least help you bring some momentum and motion beyond you having to just try to like paddle yourself out, ride the wave, like be sensitive to it.
Mhm.
Don't be like, oh, I don't do that. I don't chase trends. I don't chase fads. Okay. I hope you have what you need to create your own massive wave that can move economies, you know. But
Yeah.
if you don't, let those waves bring you some motion. Let those waves like bring you to the next part of your journey, whatever that might look like. Hope that makes sense. It's a good question.
No, it makes all the sense in the world. And it creates a follow up question of sorts for everybody that didn't jump on the trend, the TikTok short
Yeah.
form video content. My guess is that most of them were kind of scared of judgment or
Yeah.
maybe fear of not knowing what to post. So, what would you say to the people who deep down they really want to be a content creator? As a matter of fact, I can give you a statistic. Every time that they do an annual survey with kids and they say, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it used to be astronaut, firefighter, etc. The number one answer now is content creator. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of fear in that though, because people don't know what to post or if people are going to be judged by what
Yeah.
they do post. So what do you say to somebody who wants to do it, but is incredibly hesitant or at least is feeling the resistance of hitting the publish button?
Yeah, I think for one, it's kind of interesting because the first thing, don't let me lose the question because but I'm gonna go on a little tangent here. When it comes to like, oh, I want to be a content creator, I think one of the most important things you can do, the people who I know who are successful content creators, like make full-time living and are able to do it time and time again, year after year, they are people who have a mental framework for success that they've gotten from some other like industry, if that makes sense. Like a lot of the kids, I say kids, like 19-year-olds or like even 22-year-olds, people like my age or whatever, who blew up, a lot of them have disappeared or gotten washed out because they did not have the quote, I'll say intangibles of like maintaining a successful work ethic or career, regardless of if someone's paying attention, if they're getting the views at that moment. Like they didn't know how to really build a business around it. They didn't know how to define success for themselves. They didn't know how to be self-employed. And that's what you wind up being. You become self-employed. And some people go from being self-employed to being a business owner. But a lot of people just remain self-employed on social media. And what that can mean is that like you got to decide when you wake up, you got to decide when you post, you got to decide your strategy, you got to decide how long you want to do this for, you got to decide what's your exit plan and what's your exit strategy. And I'm not saying think about all that at the start. That can be overwhelming.
Right.
But I will say that like if you have a job that is teaching you or you can learn how to like how does the job you're currently working at make money? Could you do that? Like could you set up a system that makes money or could you attach yourself to a system that makes money? And I would say learn what you can while you're at that job where you're at. I was working at a hotel whenever my social media blew up. Like I was posting videos and my coworker, like, oh, that's funny. Your video got like 500 views. Oh, cute. Oh, your video got like 20 views. Okay, cool. And then I came in one week. I'm like, oh, wow, this thing's blowing up. Like, yo, your video, that one got a lot, you know? And I was like, what I would do was when I was at work, I would just like research and write these videos and stuff like that, you know?
Mm.
So like, I would say like the lesson is largely, you don't necessarily need to quit your job and go do social media. You should find a way that you can like serve a social media profile or an audience who's online while still maintaining your current job, because it can take a while to make a full-time income on social media. And if you can't manage posting or handling or putting anything out while you have a full-time job, you having a field of freedom every day and an open, empty calendar is not necessarily going to change that. Yeah, sometimes like, oh, well, if I had time to travel, I could do this or that. It's like maybe you can't travel, but maybe you can practice the skills you need for when you will be making that content traveling. Maybe you can start reviewing things locally. Maybe you can even start like practicing your camera work. Like, I think find a piece of the social media element that you like, because there are a lot of pieces that you might not enjoy. Like, I don't like sitting down and having to research things. I'm an improv guy. I like, just like this interview, I like shooting it from the hip and being like, oh, let's have fun. Let's find the magic in it, you know? But I'm realizing like my team needs to know what to prepare for. So I need to be able to communicate with them, like what our objectives are, where we're heading and where we're going, so they can prepare that ahead of time so I can do my best. And that's not a part I love, you know? So there's gonna be a lot of parts of social media you don't like, but what parts do you like? Do you like filming? Do you like the editing? Do you like the voiceover? Do you like being on camera? Start with the part you're most passionate about and then work your way backwards. You know, for me, when I started social media, or I started like the TikTok at least, I like doing the silly voices and just making myself and my family laugh. And I like bringing my friends into the like the creative process. And that's what drove me. So there's a lot of fear, of course, but just try, I would say lock into that one thing you really do enjoy and lead with that. Also, the last tip I'll give, set a timer for yourself. If I feel like I have all day or 6 hours to make a video, I will take 6 hours and the video will be the same as if I gave myself 15 minutes. I set timers like, okay, I gotta make a video. You got 5 minutes to record, you got 10 minutes to edit, and then you got 5 minutes to post. And then it's out there, because social media can be so much a numbers game that doing more numbers eventually leads to better quality as you get that feedback from the views, the comments, what people actually love and hate, you know? And then sometimes I don't go back and look at the comments on some videos that are risky. I won't look at the comments because I'm like, I don't want to hear people saying, oh, this sucks or I hate this. I'll just go on to the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. Eventually I'll look back and be like, oh, wow. Okay, cool, cool, cool. This one worked. That's great. That's great. Let me do more. But sometimes I used to post a video and immediately start refreshing and trying to look at the comments. Terrible for my mental. You got to post that and then go work on the next thing you like, you know?
Yeah.
Eventually, sometimes you get to a point where maybe that's not you, but if that's you, post it, go work on the next one, or go outside, put your phone down, go get refreshed, because sometimes it's a big emotional weight to even post a video. But I can get into that. I can talk about that all day long. But
Yeah.
did I answer your question? I said on a tangent. I don't know
No,
if I answered the question.
you did. You brought up a good point, though, that I really want to highlight in case somebody's watching this that plans on pursuing content creation in some fashion, which is for you, the social media and video posting, that was an outlet, right? And so some people could use this as an outlet, their creative escape, especially if they're working a 9 to 5 that isn't really bringing them a whole lot of joy. But
Yep.
essentially, if you go in and you post a video and then you go read the comments about that video, that might destroy the outlet for you because you're not getting the positive response that you were kind of hoping for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I think you make it as simple as possible. You get a box of crayons as a kid, you get a coloring book and you color it in. It's like, oh, this is really cool. I like this. It's like an astronaut or something like that. And then some adult comes through and says, hey, astronauts aren't blue. The spacesuits are white or whatever. So like, you shouldn't have used that color. Or like, hey, the moon is actually like white. It's not purple. Hey, space is black. It's not yellow. Like, what are you doing? Like,
That'll
I would be
ruin it.
like, yo, dude, shut the hell. Yeah, shut up. What are you talking about? This was like, especially if you were excited about it. Like, there's something in there about like, there are no rules to social media. If it works and brings you joy and brings somebody else joy, that's working. That's the point. And I think it's also important, like, what do you want out of it? Like, for me, it was like, I want to have fun with this. And I do want to make a community, but I definitely want to have fun, you know? And I think there is also this point where you get to, if you just choose to pursue it as a full-time thing, that there can be a shift of like, okay, now I have to make money as well. And it's funny, there's actually this book called Creativity Inc. by the president and founders of Pixar. and they talk about this like this curious little mix of like and it's a long book. You can go listen to the audiobook on like Spotify or something like that, or get it from a local library. But there's a mix of like protecting that magic of like the kid who just wants to draw and like, oh, this is what I love, this is what's amazing. And then also, how do you feed the beast of like, okay, how are we actually going to market this? Like, and when it comes to social media, it can be a little bit of that. Once you hit this level of success or this level of progress, it's like, okay, now we shift from like only making stuff that we love to like, how do we make sure the audience still feels included in this and we're not losing them, you know? Because the more you can make them feel seen or included, turns out that's a very valuable thing to be able to do, you know? And it's a weird balance. There's no perfect formula for how do I make sure I'm making stuff I'm perfectly passionate about and things that are going to like work and resonate well. But I think at the start, just you're making taste for you unless you have a specific business plan in mind in an audience you're trying to reach. Like, oh, I want to reach bakers in the South. Okay, then maybe you know exactly the type of content you want to put out. Hopefully you're also a baker in the South or something, or at least
Of
have some
course.
kind of taste that can resonate with them. But I would say if you don't have that specific audience in mind, create for yourself and make something you are very proud of.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts on something because it kind of goes back to everything you've included, maybe encapsulates it a little bit. But earlier, when I was asking for your advice on people who want to create content, this could be a more holistic question than just about making content. But there was some advice I received not too long ago where somebody asked me what I want to do. And I told them a couple of things that I want to do. And they said, you might have a job right now. And if you went and you tried to pursue this opportunity, people would look at you and say you don't have experience. But there's literally nothing stopping you from doing the thing and then letting it come to you. So, example,
Yeah.
let's say I want to be a sports writer. There's nothing keeping me from turning on Jags games and writing about the Jags. Now, the audience would be
Isn't that
different,
awesome?
but you can just start writing about the Jags. And then a year might go by or 2 years might go by. And then somebody discovers your content where you're writing about the Jags. They go, hey, we want you to join the team. Like, we love what you're doing. And so there's a way to make it come to you. And I just want to get your thoughts on that for people who have a full-time job and are dreading it. And they could use content creation as as the outlier, but anything along those lines, like what do you say to people like just get started?
Think that was a roadblock for me mentally. Like, what do I do? How do I skill development is what I'll call it. Let's call it skill development. Use social media for skill development. If you don't want to be on social media for the rest of your life, that's fine. My dad, he can talk football all day long, 24/7, 365. Doesn't matter. Show him one play, show him 1,000 plays. He's got commentary on it. He played for 11 years. And I'm like, yeah, you can get into sports commentary. 60 seconds. Give yourself a time limit if it's overwhelming. It's okay if it's only a 30-second video. It's okay if it's a 60-second video. It's okay if it's not even edited well. But I say give yourself like every day, I'm going to sit down for 5 minutes. I will film for 30 seconds and then I will upload. That little commitment can be enough of a game changer because like you have a skill, you want to be a sports writer, start writing stuff on Facebook or start recording yourself talking about it on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. It doesn't matter where you're at. Just use it for skill development. Like my skill development start was voice acting. I'm like, I don't know how to write. So I found funny tweets and then I voice acted them. And that was enough of a mix between things to just get content up and for people to find it and enjoy it. But I think skill development is a perfectly valid reason to start posting on social media. Like my dad, I'm like, hey, 60 seconds. 60 seconds with Lonnie Marts Jr., post-game recap, 3 points, whatever. Blah, 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 this, and this. Send, or I'll see you next week, post. Skill developed. And then you know what that does after doing that consistently for a year? People are like, oh yeah, you do those recap videos, don't you? You don't have to necessarily wait for somebody to come and hire you for that. And if you are going to wait for that, develop the skills on social media while you do it. Make it your portfolio, so to speak. Just practice, regular
Exactly.
routine. I grew up as an athlete, so it was just like, oh, you just go to practice every day and you learn and find things to love about practice because you gotta be at practice. And if you're not at practice, there's no way in hell you're gonna survive in the game. You're not even gonna get a chance to go to the game. You're not gonna be on the team. But like if you can accept that I just gotta practice, even if it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, those little habits of practicing and showing up some way, some shape or form are what makes millionaires. That's what gives people the dream bodies they always talk about wanting to have. That is what gives people an audience on social media, apparently. But if you're waiting for this one thing, I just got to make everything perfect before I start. It's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be somebody dumber than you. There's going to be somebody less skilled than you, less attractive than you. And they're going to get ahead of you because they decided to post, because they decided to start. Like a lot of people who are winning right now, so to speak, are people who just started. and that can be the hardest part. So don't let somebody take your spot, so to speak, or let somebody who's like, oh, I could do that. I could do that. And it's like you're sitting here not doing it because you think you could, but you never started. That's the base level requirement. Just start.
Yep. Yeah, skill development, and then makes you make yourself discoverable. I think those are just two critical
Yeah.
things at this moment. Yeah,
It's free. It's free. It's free. And the internet says, hey, if it's free and by some chance, if it's good, we're going to show it to people.
that's right. Well, speaking of, we can talk about advice all day, and I think we did a really good job helping the generations coming up. We lowered the threshold for them to do content creation in the first
100%.
30 minutes of this interview. So let's talk about you. You're in
Yeah.
LA now, and you're doing some great stuff, and I just want more people to know about it. So
Yeah.
talk
Woo!
about all the
Read it from.
endeavors.
So it's funny, since that initial boost of virality on social media, I found myself shot way past my goals, which, praise God, what a blessing to like be like, hmm, I didn't think I'd get this far so soon. But it's been this reinvention of myself to be like, okay, cool, we're doing these skits and stuff like that, but what do I really care about? What really makes a difference? And I kind of went back to my roots in a sense of it's a community. Again, I love my family. So this career path to becoming a host and a personality, which is also funny when you define very clearly what you want and who you are and what you will be, the universe has a way of bringing that to you. So much so as a host and personality, I was able to host the Met Gala for E! News earlier this year, which was crazy. Um, the Met Gala was a new arena for me. Fashion isn't necessarily like my area of expertise, but as I came back out here to LA, my manager booked me on a show with E! News called Hot Goss. I actually filmed an episode today. Nope, thanks Siri. You lost your opportunity. She was listening the whole time trying to transcribe. Didn't ask for that. But my manager got me booked on the show called Hot Goss, where we talk about it's supposed to be two hot guys in a hot sauna talking hot celebrity gossip. And I really love it because for one, it gives me a chance as like a host to like facilitate a conversation and make things more accessible to people. And then that happens every Tuesday, every Wednesday and Thursday. There are new episodes out, and we're looking to expand that and start bringing some guests into it. And we just hit one full year and one season down, which is really cool. I also have this podcast I'm working on, again, based in connection and community and fun. It's called Friends Actually, and it's a podcast with me and three of my other friends about male friendships in your 30s, how we make them, lose them, keep them, protect them, repair them. And there's a male loneliness epidemic going on in the world, and I think especially in a place like LA, people tend to prioritize work over a work-life balance or even life in general. So I think it's just an opportunity to show like other men like, yo, how do you have a friendship? What can that look like? How do you navigate through that? How do you navigate into that? Like, and so that's gonna be launching later this month, later in the month of October, which I'm really looking forward to. And then also I have another little show I do from time to time. It's this YouTube show I work with, called In My Opinion channel, and it's called the show called Hung Jury. And it's just more of a fun thing I do, but me and my friends will hop on there. Like a new episode drops every Monday, I think. It's going to be on the link in my bio. But basically, we debate things that are as silly as like, yo, cats versus dogs. Legitimately, which one is better? Go through the facts, give me your opinions, debate, argue. We need to come to a consensus. Which one is better? Like, have you ever seen those Jubilee videos where people argue stuff that kind of doesn't matter? It's just kind of a fun, lighthearted thing to sit back, watch, and laugh with. And I love doing that because, again, people can get in the comments about what they really think is true. And it's just kind of a brain off type of a thing. Like, you don't have to think about it. We're going to sit here and yell at each other for a while. We're all going to have a good time. We walk away as friends, and it's just some good, entertaining content. So there's some big things that I'm working on currently and some things I'm having a lot of fun with. Also, cooking up a little bit of content on the YouTube channel, experimenting with some different stuff. So again, even at my level, still just paving a path of like, I want to be a host. So I'm working on some shows. We're going to host some different things with my friends on my YouTube channel because I'm like, I can go to a studio, but also studios still like to see a proof of concept if I'm being transparent. So like, even if you have this great idea, do it yourself first and then show them that it can work and how it can work. So those are things I'm currently cooking up and working on and having a great time with.
That's awesome, man. On the YouTube channel, when you were talking about it, it triggered a memory, and it was our friend that put us in touch with each other, Jordan Walker.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about starting this podcast, and you're thinking about starting your podcast, and I was like, dude, I don't know, and he was like, Randall, you can't make it pretty until you make it exist. I'll never forget that.
You can't edit air. You
Yeah.
cannot edit air. You can edit a pile of crap, but you cannot edit air. Like, you can't edit air. You cannot improve something that doesn't exist, and it's hard to hit a target you have not identified. those two kind of mantras kind of go back and forth in my brain a lot of times. If I'm going on something I've been doing for a long time, but I'm not seeing the results I want, what's the target? Have you made it clear? Have you identified it? And if it's like, oh, I really wish, I don't know, it could be this, but I don't know, and you haven't started, well, it's very hard to edit air. You can't edit anything until you have something out there, until you've started.
Yeah, 100%. I'll never forget Jordan Fo. It's the reason we're 50 episodes into this podcast. So shout out to Jordan.
But
Thanks for the advice first and foremost, and then thanks for putting me and Lonnie in touch. We were able to do this.
yo,
He was the first
that's the
guest.
homie, my oldest friend.
Dude, he's awesome, and he was the first guest on PB and Jax. So
That's lit.
this is kind of a full circle moment for me.
That's cool.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I just want to make sure, like in the show notes, I get it right. So the show, the Hot Goss show, when can people watch that and where?
So yes, great question. Hot Goss releases Tuesdays and Thursday or Wednesdays. Sorry, Hot Goss releases Wednesdays and Thursdays on Instagram and TikTok. If you look up e-news Hot Goss on Instagram or TikTok, you'll be able to find it. There's new episodes. If you go to the link in my bio, it's also linked there, LonnieIIV.com. Go there. You can see it, the link there. You can jump straight to the page on Instagram at least. And yeah, whatever. A lot of the news revolves around like, celebrities and stuff like that. So if you care about Sabrina Carpenter, Taylor Swift, or if you enjoy watching shirtless men who don't really understand these things talk about them, it's a show for you. So
shirtless men in a towel. I should really put the emphasis on that. You're not just wearing pants in the sauna.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I didn't entirely realize what I was signing up for at the beginning. I'm like, oh, you guys don't care what we say, do you? You just want us to have towels on.
Listen, man, it's Hollywood. I get it.
Yeah. Whatever sells, huh?
Yeah. And then the podcast, I know that's coming out soon, which I think is great, by the way. I think it serves a need. Where is that going to be?
Yeah.
Where can people find that?
People are going to be able to find that on YouTube and Spotify, as well as Instagram. I will also have it linked in my bio, so you can just go to, again, my username is LonnieIIV, supposed to be clever play on LonnieIIV and Roman numerals. But you click the link in my bio, I have it all linked right there. It has its own Instagram page. It'll have its own YouTube channel. But if you can't find that for whatever reason, if the SEO isn't high enough or there yet because of the click-throughs or whatnot, you'll be able to find it all on my website, and I will have it linked right there for you, nice and pretty.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Kind of the back end of all these episodes, I mean, everything, it's PB and Jax, pioneers and builders and Jax. So yeah. I want to kind of push the conversation towards this wonderful city that we live in, man. Like, talk a little bit about Jacksonville. And the thing I care about the most is why do you love it so much? I mean, you bleed this shit, and I just want to know why.
Dude, I think growing up in Jacksonville, I went to Providence and then I went to Harvest Community School. And growing up in Jacksonville, I always kind of felt this kind of attitude of like, I just need to go anywhere else. I need to get out of here, whatever. It can have a small town feel to it. And I think if anybody else feels that way, that's fair, valid, and it's probably accurate. I think it is worth leaving Jacksonville at some point and seeing the different ways things exist. But I believe that Jacksonville has a kind of culture and then also it has a kind of economic value that allows you to just work at your own pace. Being in a space, for me, in my experience, being in a space like Los Angeles is great because of the connections, the events, the moments you have to work with things and all that stuff. But in an ideal world, for me personally, with everything being so digital especially, rent is one of the most expensive things a person pays for. If you look at the P&L, the balance sheet, rent, mortgage is one of the most expensive things that people pay for. And if you're out here in LA or a large city, trying to pay for land and a place to house your people is very, very expensive. If you are familiar with the space like Jacksonville and you have the resources and the skilled labor, or you can source them remotely, you save so much money on what is a lot of companies and a lot of individuals' biggest expense. So economically, being back in Jacksonville makes me feel comfortable to travel to more places, to go out, get resources, bring them back home, work with the people, my neighbors and the people in the local area, bring that expertise back, because the people in Jacksonville care. They want to know. They want to grow. They want to learn. Jordan's younger brother, Josh, wanted to work with me as a videographer, but I wound up having to jump back out here to Los Angeles, so I wasn't able to. But beyond that, on even a spiritual level, there's a sense of peace I find just being on the beaches in Jacksonville. LA beaches, listen, they're cool, they're fun. West Coast beaches, cool, fun, all that stuff. The water is cold. It gets cold at night. In Jacksonville, hang out as long as you want. Be in the ocean through November. And for me, it just gives me a place that I can go and kind of turn off my brain, not have to worry about what other people are doing, I know that the people around tend to care about you for who you are, not for what you can do.
No.
And in some of these bigger cities, that can become like a rarity, you know? And I have so many good friends and good people out there that I've grown up with and grown to know. And very few things beat a hometown where people know about you and care about you, you know? Having to escape from the craziness and intensity of being a pioneer out here on another part of the world is a gift, you know? I got my, I was wearing this earlier today in the office. I was filming with E News and, you know,
Oh
it's
my
not like
goodness.
it's based in Jacksonville
Is
or
that
anything
Waffle
like that,
House?
but,
Yeah, it
like,
is.
yeah, every time I'm back home, I go to Waffle House, and the people there are like, "Oh, good to see you again." I'm like, "You remember me." You know, I have friends I see out here at parties, like, every week, and they're like, "What was your name again?" I'm like, "Okay, heard, got it." You know, and the people at Waffle House are, "Oh, it's great to see you. How you been?" You know? And Jacksonville is just that special of a place. From the festivals and events that they've started doing more recently, stuff like Jazz Fest even, like, it is, I will say, like, to me, it could feel like a simple place in some ways, but it brings so much warmth. There's so much space for growth. There's so many resources. And it's kind of in some ways left up only to your imagination, like what you want to do with the space. And like even the culture is kind of undefined in a lot of ways. And I
It is.
think that's why if you want to leave, it's good to go out and go places and get to understand how other people do things. Then come back and like it's kind of the city is your playground in so many ways. People need things and people are getting smarter, working remote, bring resources in from out of state, out of town, across the globe even to like revitalize, reinform and restructure the city is in such cool ways.
Yeah. The There's a couple extra things. You were talking about the price earlier. We're also
Yeah.
state tax free, you know, for anybody's thinking about Florida.
Course.
California, it's already expensive. Then you got to pay the state tax. It's unbelievable. But speaking of culture,
And it's I will say real quick, it's unbelievable and it's not always even necessary. Like I said, everything is so much more remote nowadays. People I used to have this idea when I was a kid, like, oh, I gotta go out to LA, I gotta be on set. I saw the movie Big Fat Liar with like Frankie Muniz. I was like, oh, I gotta go be on set. It's crazy being on sets out there. And I get out here and they're like, yeah, hey dude, sorry. You're like 10 years too late. It's all digital. And if it's digital, you're gonna be in the office. Save your money, you know? And then again, there's other awesome, just awesome programs. Like my dad currently runs Level the Playing Field Leadership Academy where he's helping like kids from single parent homes and raising them up and to like be better men and mentors. There's just so many cool things going on. Sorry, continue.
oh,
I
that's great.
remembered that. I was like, dude,
No, that was a good plug, and I'm going to make sure it's in the video. What I was going to tell you about is since you've been gone, we're about to be in the fourth year of this. But two gentlemen, Troy McNair and Mo Henderson, started a conference here called Think Bold, and what they're doing with Think Bold is they're replicating South by Southwest, and it's here in
smart.
Jacksonville. So there's tech, music, film, and culture. And I think when the timing is right, whenever you're ready to come home, I can't think of a better keynote speaker than Lonnie Marts at Think Bold.
Dude, it'd be so fun. I would love to. I think about one of my goals is to make sure I do my business right out here in LA. That way I can be have a home over here, a home over there, be wherever I need to be whenever. That's a priority for me. Not like that for everybody. Some people like to be just where they're at and travel here and there, but I know personally and one of the goals I define myself is to be able to be here when I need to be here, but be back home around my family and community as often as I can. It inspires so much of my content and work.
Yeah, we'll get you home. I feel good about it.
Bring
Couple
Lonnie campaign.
couple of things where I just want to make sure everybody knows exactly where to find you. Instagram handle, TikTok handle,
Yeah,
website.
sure. So anywhere you want to find me, it is Lonnie, LonnieIIV.com, LonnieIIV.com. And it is Lonnie IIV on all socials. I am on Snapchat. I am on Instagram. I am on YouTube. We are also on Threads. We are on X. We are also on, which one did I miss? I stream on
TikTok.
Twitch sometimes, not too often, but also TikTok. My largest following is actually over on TikTok. But you can find me on any of those places. I'm most active on Instagram. I post there like nearly every day, and I'd love to connect. So if you find me, say hi. Let me know that you came from the podcast, the show, and I'd love to say hey, especially if you're from Jacksonville, please.
Absolutely. I'll make sure we send everybody your way, man. And is there anything we missed? Is there anything you want anybody to know about who you are, what you're doing, what you want to be doing, where you're going?
Look, I mean, I think I've answered a lot of it. As a host and personality, it will be, as the time goes on down the line, producing my own shows, bringing good people together, having important conversations that stir up some souls and minds, you know? And if you're listening in from Jacksonville, you have a special place, go to the beach for me. Take some of those good drives around the city for me. Do a lap around 295, please, and enjoy it. Make the most of the city for sure, dude, because it is a great place. And if you want to be on social media as well, you don't really know what's going on or how to navigate to that, feel free to shoot me a message as well. Again, like, I don't always put this out for everywhere, but for the hometown at least, like,
Yeah,
shoot me a message and I will try to give it whatever insights I can. Message me on Instagram and I will make sure to get back to you.
that's a really good offer, man. I appreciate you doing that for
Yeah.
everybody.
Heck yeah.
Last question, and I'll turn you loose. What's the Waffle House order? I gotta know.
Dude, actually, it's kind of funky. I do my own little version of chicken and waffles. I get the Texas, it's like the Texas bacon melt. It's got like the grilled chicken and the bacon and like the cheese and onions, and then I'll get a waffle on the side. That's the one I'm really trying to pig out though. I got to be like shirtless on camera every week for the hot goss, so I can't do too many of those when I'm home. But that's my soul right there. 3 a.m. 11 a.m. on a Sunday does not matter. I will be enjoying that combo right there.
Yeah, I'll make sure anybody that I'll throw this out there. Anybody that goes and orders it, just make sure you take a picture of it and tag Lonnie on Instagram.
Please, please, please. Just it's almost like I'm there eating. If you tag me or send it to me, I'll be like, yes, my soul regained a point today.
I love it, man. Hey, you're awesome for doing this. I appreciate you not only for
Appreciate you.
being here and talking to me and being able to put this out to the public, but man, just the fact that you
Yeah,
continue to say like I love Jacksonville and I'm here for work.
yeah,
I'm in LA because I have to be, but if I could be in Jacksonville, Florida right now, it would be exactly where I'm supposed to be. So thank you for everything you've done for the city. Thank you for all the direction you divert eyes to bring it here. And I can't wait
yeah,
until we continue to do big things together for this great city.
yeah. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for hosting this. Like, you're putting people on. You're getting the word out. It's crazy how many amazing things don't exist because people don't start, and you started. And I hope everybody's listening is the next person to start. Start today, start tomorrow, but start. Whatever you got in your head, actually, if you think about something, that's at the end of the week to start. You better start it, all right? Doesn't matter how ugly it is. An ugly baby can grow up into a beautiful person, all right? So just start. And you can't edit air, so please start. Both of us are telling you that it can be scary, it can be uncertain, but if you don't start, you will never get to that place where you deserve to be. So please start.
It's very true.
Do it for Duval.
Lonnie, thank you, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Take care. Hey, that was a good time. That was fun.